In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. Today I'm going to talk about the grammar. Okay? You remember in the previous chapters, chapter 5 and chapter 6, we talked about words and morphemes. Words in chapter 5 and morphemes in chapter 6. We said in chapter 6 it is good to talk about morphemes, okay, not words. Why? Because we are talking about the smallest elements in the construction of, in fact, words. So the smallest element sometimes is something like the S plural at the end of boy, the word boy, okay? So the word boy actually has got two parts. One is boy and the other is z. Okay, boy is s plural. Okay, so we say that the word boys has got two morphemes. Now we want to, in fact, go upper and talk about something bigger called the grammar. Okay. So if I actually look at the example here, you can understand what we are going to talk about. In this part, it is chapter 7, the first page, and it is on page 92. You can see something like 4 lines to the bottom of the page. You can find something like the lucky boys. Okay, how many morphemes do you see here? One is there, the other is luck, the other is the other is boy, and the other is z. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 morphemes. Okay, in chapter 6 we discussed that uh, these morphemes are classified into functional morphemes and grammatical morphemes. Functional morphemes and lexical morphemes. And there are derivationals and inflectionals. Let us see. The word there, or the morpheme there, has got the functional. It is a functional morpheme. The next one is lock, which is a lexical morpheme. The next one, as you see, is a, which is a derivational morpheme, which gives us a new kind of meaning when it is added to the word lock. It gives us lucky, a new kind of meaning. Okay. The next one is the lexical morpheme boy. So boy and lock are both lexical morphemes. Finally, we said S plural is something like an inflectional morpheme added to the end of nouns like boys, or at the end of verbs like loves. Here we have S plural as one inflectional morpheme. At the end of love, we have third person singular as the inflectional morpheme. Anyway, these were the things that we studied in the previous chapter, in chapter 6. Now we don't want to talk about morphemes. We want to talk about the bigger elements like phrases and sentences. Okay? So the lucky boys is one phrase, but it has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 morphemes. Okay, the lucky boys is one phrase. Well, let us go to see what we mean by phrases and sentences. Well, when we want to work on phrases, clauses, and sentences, we actually go to the next page and discuss it in terms of the English grammar as a grammar. Okay? So, what do we do in grammar? We say one order is right and another order is not right. So, in the previous page, we said on the previous page, we said we have the lucky boys as one phrase, but can we say boys? Line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boys the lucky? No. Can we say lucky boys the? No. We only can say something like the lucky boys. The lucky boys. This is a good English phrase. Okay? So it is important to consider that one order is good, another order is not good in the grammar of English and Arabic and many other languages. One order, one sequence is good, the other is not good. So what do we do here? We have actually work with the grammar of English. If you want to see the definition of the grammar of English, it appears on paragraph 3 of this page. Okay, so you can see it's like this. Well, the process of describing the structure of phrases and sentences in a way that we account means explain, account for all the grammatical sequences in a language and rule out, send out the ungrammatical sequences is one way of describing grammar. So what do? We say one order is good and we say one order is bad and we rule it out. We say no, you are to be kept out. Okay? So what are we doing here? We are accounting for or explaining the grammar of English or Arabic or Farsi or another language, let's say Korean. Okay, so these are in fact the study of grammar, as you already know. Well, first of all, in order to understand the nature of grammar in English, we have to, in fact, see what they did in the past as far as the traditional grammar was concerned. Why? Because first, traditional grammarians actually found things about English, about Arabic, about Farsi, about all other languages. So let us see what we see here. Okay? Well, traditional grammarians were the first traditional grammarians actually described two languages of Europe. It was something like Latin and Greek. First, actually, we had a grammar for the Latin, Greek. Next, in fact, the Latin grammarians actually came to use the grammar of Greek and made a grammar for their own language. Now, these two languages, like Latin and Greek, were considered as two languages that, English language actually owes its grammar to. Okay, why? Because English grammarians in the past and came and used the grammar of English, Latin and Greek in order to make their own grammar, okay, for the English. So not only English, all other European languages like French, like Italian, like Spanish, like Portuguese, etc., etc., came to use the grammar of Latin and English and Greek in order to establish their grammars. So we see that when we want to talk about the grammar, we actually talk about these two languages, okay? And it is under the influence of Latin and Greek grammar. Okay, now let us see what they did. Well, actually, if you actually go to the next page, I suppose it's page 94, you can see that the traditional grammarians found something called the parts of speech. What is the parts of speech? Well, the parts of speech actually is something like a noun, an adjective, an article, a verb, an adverb, a preposition, a pronoun, or a conjunction. Okay? These are the things that the grammarians actually at that time found about Latin and Greek. And actually, when we say something is a noun, like the word boy is a noun or the word love is a verb, we actually borrow, okay? We take these words from Latin grammarians. Why? Because they thought that they actually found these parts of speech, okay? So if you actually want to understand these parts of speech, you have to go on page 94 and find this big sentence, line 2, line 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, beginning like this. The lucky boys found a backpack in the park and they opened it carefully. Okay? Well, now let's go and read the second line. We understand the parts of speech here, okay? Look, the is an article. Lucky is an adjective. Boys is a noun. Found is a verb. Is an article. Backpack is a noun. And in is a preposition. You can read the second line for yourself, okay? So these are parts of speech, okay? Nouns, adjectives, articles, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, prepositions, pronouns, and conjunctions. So what are they? These are the traditional categories, okay? The next thing that actually traditional grammarians found was something like agreement. Let us see what agreement in grammar means. Okay? Suppose I'm talking in Arabic. I say أنت جلست. Now I change the word anta to anti and say anti jalasti. What happens here? I change anta to anti. As a result, I change jalasta to jalasti. Okay? What is it? There's an agreement here. There's an agreement here. Okay? Traditional grammarians like Latin grammarians, like Greek grammarians, understood that there is something in the sentence called agreement. Agreement. Okay? So they found that, for example, a noun agrees with a verb, or the verb agrees with a noun in this sentence, in one sentence. Okay? So let us see what agreement in other languages in addition to Arabic is. Okay? Well, agreement things actually are like line 2, number. Okay? Number. What does it mean? In Arabic it means mufrad, tathniya, jama' or mufrad, muthanna, jama'. Okay? The next one is person. Well, the next one is tense. I'm going to talk about these things just now, okay? And the next one is voice. And the last one is gender. Okay? These are the things that in a grammar like English, like Arabic, like Farsi, we need to have agreement. Sometimes there is an agreement in one language, sometimes there is no agreement in another language. Sometimes the agreement is in one language in terms of number, and another language, no number agreement. Okay? Or a language can have some no tense, or it can have different tenses as agreement. Okay? Anyway, so what are they? What are they? Just let's go to this sentence. Kathy loves her dog. Kathy loves her dog. Where is it? It is at the end of paragraph 1 on page 95. Okay, it's here. What happens here? Kathy is the verb, is the noun. Okay, because Kathy is something like feminine, the name of a girl, we have to say loves her dog. Dog, her dog, her, not his in English. Now, again, we come back to see that the Kathy is in fact, as I told you, the name of a person, okay? It is the third person singular. We see that the verb must agree with it, so that's why we add an S at the end of loves, and the end of love to make loves. Okay? So these are instances of agreement. Okay? So what is this? This agreement, the next paragraph, says that is partially based on the category of number. So what does number mean? What does person mean? Well, that is whether the noun is singular or plural. You have to know that many languages have something like singular or plural, like Arabic, like Farsi. Okay? Now, there are some languages like Arabic, but not English, not Farsi. Of course, today's Farsi, modern Farsi, okay, modern Persian. Well, it does not, these languages do not have muthanna or tathniya, okay, do two, okay. So we cannot say, we can say jalasa, jalasa, okay, or jalasata. What does it mean? Two people, okay. In Arabic for the past tense shows something like muthanna. Okay, so agreement in terms of number means one, two, or more than two, like Arabic. One is singular, and more than one in many languages means plural. But in Arabic, we have two and more than two as the number. Okay, person, it's easy. What does it mean? Person means well, there are three types of person. Okay, first person involving line 3, the speaker. So I is first person. Second person means you in English. Okay, involving the hearer. And third person involving any others. Okay, so first person, second person, third person. So we combine it. First person singular, first person plural, First, second person singular, second person plural. We can have again something like this. First person, well, third person singular, third person plural. Okay, it's like this. So we talked about person and number. Okay, what is next? The next is tense. What does it mean? Past tense, present tense, etc. In English, when we say love, this is in fact, no tense. But when we say loves, S at the end, the morpheme S at the end, the morpheme at the end shows that it is present tense. Okay? Or when we have something like ed at the end of a verb like walk, and we have walked, or help, we have helped. This ed shows tense. What does it show? It shows past tense. Okay? Or when we say something like سيقام, سيقام, sa in Arabic shows what? Sa in Arabic shows the future tense. Okay? سيقام. Okay? Now, this is tense. Now we have active and passive. Active and passive. So we can talk about ضرب and ضرب, or تم ضربه if I'm not wrong. Okay? Or تم ضربها if there is that way. Okay? So what does it mean? It means active, passive. Okay? Active ضرب, passive ضرب. جلس جلس. كتب كتب in Arabic. Well, these are active voices. I'm not gonna continue with that. The next one is active and passive voice. I talked about it. When we go to the next paragraph, we find gender. Okay? Some languages do not have gender, like Farsi, like English. English does not have gender, except for he and she. He means man, boy and man, and she means girls and women. So we say feminine and masculine. Masculine means man, feminine means women. Male or female. Male means man and female means woman. Okay? Now, well, in some languages like Farsi, like English, we do not have many gender terms. Okay? Gender things like Arabic. Okay? But in some languages like Arabic, we have gender. Okay? So what is the difference between al-jami' and al-jami'ah? Okay? Al-jami' is masculine. Al-jami'ah is something else. It is feminine in Arabic. Okay? What is this? Well, in Arabic, we have got two types of things. One is natural gender. Okay? For example, Kathy in English is natural gender. What is it? Because Kathy is a feminine, so we use the word her for it. Okay? Now, let's say, for example, John. John is masculine, so we use him for it. Okay? But in English, we have only him and her for masculine and feminine, and he and she. Not more than that. But in Arabic and in some other languages, we have gender in terms of sometimes natural gender or biological gender and grammatical gender. What is natural or biological gender? If something is biologically masculine or feminine, or feminine, we say it has got natural gender. But what about a university? A university is a masculine or feminine? No difference. But the grammar says you have to say al-jami'ah. Al-jami'ah. Why? Because it is feminine. But what happens to a mosque or a masjid or the jamir? Well, it is something, well, let's say, it has got something like grammatical gender. So when we use these words, we have to be very careful about the verbs that we have for these nouns, and sometimes adjectives that we use for these nouns, or etc. etc. So there are genders in other languages. A good example is Arabic. Okay? But what about other languages? In other languages, again, we have something like Arabic. Okay? Both natural gender or grammatical gender. When we say natural gender, I'm going to repeat it once more. It is naturally, biologically, okay, sexually, male or female, boy or girl, or let's say woman or man, like this. But when we see no such a thing, but the grammar says, oh, for this word you have to use masculine, or for this word you have to use feminine, we say we have something like the grammatical gender. Okay? Now I gave you two examples, a couple of examples from Arabic. I will give you one example. What is the difference between maktab and maktaba? Again the same story. Again the same story. Al-maktab is something like grammatically masculine, while al-maktaba is something like grammatically feminine. Okay? It is something like that. So we have grammatical gender in Arabic. But let us go to find other things in other languages. Spanish is like Arabic, not like English, not like Farsi. Is Spanish, paragraph 2 of page 96. Yes, page 96. We have Spanish, for example, has got two grammatical genders, masculine and feminine, like Arabic. As in the expressions, el sol is the sun. El sol is the sun, which is one thing, masculine, and la luna, it means the moon, which is feminine. Okay? So, el sol or the sun is masculine, and la luna is the moon, which means it is feminine. Okay? Well, there is another example in addition to Spanish. Okay? This is the Spanish. Okay? How many grammatical genders do they have? 2. Do you think that there are languages with three grammatical genders? Yes. Let us go and find this language. Yes. Where is it? Here, line 2, somewhere at the end of the line. This is German. What does German do? In German, we have three different kinds of grammatical gender. Let us see. German uses line 3. German uses now line 3. Okay. Three genders. Masculine, like der Mond. What does it mean? The moon. Of course, they say you have to pronounce it der Mond. We write the and at the end we say t. So the moon is masculine in German. Feminine die Sonne. Die Sonne means the sun. Okay? So far it is like Arabic. It is like Spanish. What is the third? Well, the third one is the neuter. Okay? Neither man nor woman means neuter. Das Führer. What does it mean? The fire. So German is a language with three, in fact, grammatical genders. And you have to know that, as is the case with Arabic, we have things like grammatical gender in addition to natural gender, okay, in the grammar of these languages. Another language is French that you have to talk about. Le livre. Le livre, which means the book, is grammatically masculine, but well, le livre. Remember, here it the book doesn't want to say le livre is masculine. You know that the grammar says it is masculine, okay? Not, in fact, not the people consider something like jama as something that it is feminine. No. Or al-maktaba, something feminine. No, they don't consider it, but the grammar considers it. Why? Because we have something called here agreement in these languages, like Arabic. Okay? Now let us go to sum everything up. Here on page page 96, I suppose. Yes. Well, so the grammatical and traditional analysis says something like these for the verbs. Look. First person singular, second person singular, third person singular, first person plural, second person plural, and third person plural. What does it mean? I, you, she, we, you, or they. Okay? Now look at here. We say, I love, you love, she or he loves, we love, you love, and they love. Okay? Well, as you see here is the English, and English only adds one thing s to the end. Okay? What about Arabic or Farsi or other languages? Okay? We can see something like this, okay, in a language like Latin. Okay? Let's see. In a language like Latin, we say amo, amas, amat, amamus, amatis, amant. What does it mean? Amo means I love. Amas means you, singular, love. Amat means he or she loves. Amamus means we love. Amatis means you, plural, love. Okay? And amant means they love. Okay? You can actually go to your book and actually see that these are the example. This is the example of the word love, the verb love in Latin. Okay, so far so good. Well, how many, in fact, different categories here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Amant, amas, amante. 6 ones, okay? Amatus, amamus, amatis, amante. What about Arabic? 14 different kinds in the grammar of Arabic. 14 different kinds in the grammar of Arabic, not 6 ones. Okay? What about Farsi? You don't know Farsi. Again, in Farsi, we have six, like Latin. Okay? Well, what about English? Only one S is added here. Only one S is added here. So, while the grammar of a language like Arabic, like Farsi, and like Latin needs this kind of grammatical explanation, well, a language like English does not need these kinds of explanations. We simply say when with this third person singular, we add s or es. Okay? So, you are going to be teachers of English, or I suppose some of you are already teachers of English. Okay? So in English, we don't need to so much. We say all these things like this. I, you, we, they love. I, you, we, they love. He, she, it loves. That's it. But for Arabic, it's your own language. But you know how difficult it is for Iranian people to learn Arabic? It's like this. They say they actually make something bigger than this number 6. Say something like jalasa, jalasa, jalasu, jalasat, jalasata, jalasna, jalasta, jalastuma, jalastum, jalasta, jalastuma, jalastuna, jalasto, jalasna. Why? Because in Arabic we need well agreement. Okay? So a language like Arabic and Farsi is something that we need. But remember, when you're we are teaching English, you don't need to say as far as for as many as 14 like Arabic, or as many as 6 for Latin and Farsi. Why? Because only in English we have one single thing, third person singular. That's all. So let us forget about it. Okay? We say simply for he or she or it, we use s at the end of the verb. Well, so I stop here. And I'm gonna, in fact, continue with the new materials on my next voice. Thank you very much.